With that, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, and it's truly no exaggeration when I say that without her, we would not be celebrating this milestone today. When we first came to Columbus, as we were just discussing over 4 years ago, Commissioner Erica Crawley was one of the first people we met. And she and her team at Franklin County, Administrator Ken Wilson, DCA Joy Bivens, Chief Rochelle Pride, there's so many people who have been involved in this effort. And it is really their force and just their commitment to this mission that has driven it forward and has brought this to reality of delivering housing for this community. And Commissioner, we're so thankful to you for your commitment to equality and economic opportunity for your constituents, your vision for how to create real lasting change, and your determination to see that vision brought to fruition. Thank you so much for everything you have done. Please welcome Commissioner Erica Crawley.
Good morning, everyone. I am your Franklin County Commissioner, Erica Crawley. I bring greetings on behalf of my colleagues at the Franklin County Board of Commissioners, President John O'Grady and Kevin Boyce. I want to start with gratitude. But before I tell you where we're going, I need to thank the people who got us here. Thank you to my colleague, John O'Grady, and every Franklin County department that answered the call on Christmas Day 2022, Job and Family Services, the Office on Aging, Justice Policy and Programs, Child Support, the Family Stabilization Unit. Thank you to CODA, to Red Cross, Legal Aid, the Community Shelter Board, Mayor Ginther, City Council, my friend Derek Clay, the Near East Area Commission, and our development partners at Naveen and PASS. This day belongs to all of you. Now let me tell you the story that made this day necessary. This is a story about trust. The community's first major betrayal happened in the early 1960s when the city used an eminent domain to bulldoze homes and businesses to construct these public housing towers. This federal urban renewal initiative destroyed a predominantly Black neighborhood. Local civil rights leaders called it what it was, Negro removal. The construction of Boulevard Arms, later Sawyer Towers, later Latitude 525, displaced 309 families, 307 of them Black. Residents were promised a thriving neighborhood with recreation centers, libraries, and green space, but too many of those promises never came. And still, many in this community looked at these towers with hope. Not long ago, I read that Eastside legend Will Haygood moved into this complex as a teenager in 1968. He later wrote that these apartments felt like a dream come true, replacing lean toes and outdoor plumbing with something families could finally be proud of. One of our Bronzeville neighbors, Vonzell Johnson, became known as the pride of Boulevard Arms. And another, Diana Prysock, transformed her 11th floor apartment into what she lovingly called her treehouse. Even with the strategic neglect of this building, people made homes here, real ones, and they were proud of them. The shame of what came next does not belong to those residents or our neighbors. It belongs to owners who never had to look tenants in the eye, to management companies that ignored court orders rather than fix a pipe, to years of broken elevators, mold, no heat, and no hot water, to a system that calculated what these residents were owed and decided the answer was nothing. December 25th, 2022 is a day I will never forget. Nothing prepares you to see water pouring through the ceilings of a 16-story building. Nothing prepares you to hear every elevator has failed. Nothing prepares you to watch firefighters carry seniors down stairwell after stairwell because there is no other way to get them out. Nothing prepares you for the conversation you have to have with a resident to leave all that they know because they don't have the option to stay. Our neighbor, Rick Hammond, moved into this building through Veterans Affairs after losing his wife. He called his apartment his sanctuary. On Christmas morning, he packed one duffel bag and evacuated. Diana Prysock left behind her 5 cats and her family Bible, filled with generations of births and deaths. That was Christmas morning. I was the second person to arrive here, only behind former NAACP President Nana Watson. And I knew in my heart this community deserved a dignified new start. I told residents, I care about you. We will fix this. But I want you to understand what I was asking of them. These neighbors already knew what broken promises looked like. They had filed maintenance requests, gone to court, and waited. And now someone in elected office was standing in front of them on Christmas morning, asking them to trust one more time. I made a promise that day. I don't care what we have to do. This can never happen again. And the work started immediately. Chief Pride stayed late at Dodge Rec Center because nobody who loses their home on Christmas should wake up surrounded by strangers. Our teams came back the day after Christmas because a 1-week gap in benefits can sink a family already in crisis. CODA ran trip after trip because evacuation does not end when the building is empty. Legal aid in the city went to court because accountability matters. This project is personal to me because I am my neighbor, and my neighbor is me. And after what residents experienced here, trust could not simply be handed over to another developer with a presentation and a promise. It had to be earned. Months later, my friend Derek Clay reached out, and as conversations began about what responsible investment in housing could look like in Columbus and Franklin County, and hearing more about Naveen's investment in affordable housing, it immediately made me think about what happened here and whether this could become part of the solution for this community. But introductions and conversations were never going to be enough for me after what these residents had endured. I needed to see for myself what kind of partner they could be. So I traveled to New York to visit Naveen properties and talk directly to residents living there. I asked whether things got fixed when they broke, whether residents felt safe, whether anyone in authority actually listened to them. Commissioner O'Grady also took the time to independently visit and evaluate their work himself. Because after everything this community had endured, none of us were willing to move forward based on promises alone. The answers I received from the residents that they had in New York were the reason why I came home and put my name on this deal. And let me say something plainly. This did not happen overnight. It has taken nearly 3 years to get this across the finish line. 3 years of conversations, 3 years of rebuilding trust, 3 years of carrying the weight of what happened on Christmas morning. And while there were easier paths politically, I kept thinking about those residents standing in flooded hallways, wondering whether anyone was actually going to follow through for them this time. After that day, I had 2 choices: follow through or become another person who let this community down. I was not going to be next on their list. That is how trust gets built, and the record we leave behind. And there is still more work to do. We sat down with our prosecutor's office and rewrote our development guidelines so resident protections now travel with properties if ownership changes hands, health and safety standards, code enforcement provisions with teeth and clawback provisions, protections residents can hold us accountable to long after today. Because we do not get to ask residents for faith again. We have to earn it. I cannot wait to see these towers come down. It is the last grand symbol of an urban renewal on the Near East Side, a policy that displaced 309 families and gave them promises it never intended to keep. And in the ground where these stand, we will build a renewed covenant, one residents can hold us to. On this site will stand the single largest affordable housing investment in the history of Columbus and Franklin County, 380 affordable apartments, wraparound services, wellness support, and opportunities for families to build financial equity alongside stable housing. Upon hearing these towers would come down, Will Haygood said, "Surviving Bolivar Arms was a human victory." And I understand why. The resilience it took to make a home here, raise children here, and hold on to dignity while the system failed you deserves to be honored. But nobody should have to claim victory just for surviving their housing. The victory we celebrate today is different. Ooh. It is not residents enduring a broken system. It is a coalition finally doing what should have been done 60 years ago. This is not a photo opportunity. It is a record of what accountability looks like when it actually follows through. James Baldwin said, "History does not refer merely to the past. The great force of history comes from the fact that we carry it within us." And we are standing on ground that holds 309 families. We are standing on a Christmas morning that holds every broken promise this country has made to Black residents and every opportunity it still has to do better. The people of the Near East Side were asked to trust again anyway. We will not waste it this time. Thank you.